So hi, I'm Ed. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Belgium, and I'm an independent iOS developer. So I don't know if we have many developers in the audience. Who is developer? Yes, designers. Yes, product people. Marketing. Okay, so we have a bunch of people. Well, I'm a bit of everything, basically. My story goes from zero to being an indie developer today. It took about 5 years for me to get there, and Joanne asked me to kind of walk through to the whole story, and maybe we can all take something from it. So it all starts in 2013 for me. So back then I'm 23 years old. I just graduated from university as a business guy, master in management science. So nothing related to programming, nothing related to design, product, none of it. And I have a choice to make, a choice between becoming a digital marketer in a well-known big group that sells cheese, very sexy, or a growth hacker in the tech startup my friends are launching. And I'll let you guess which option I took. So I decided to join my friends, and we launched this startup. We were still on the university campus. It was still like being a student, partying and working hard. And I learned on the job how to growth hack, basically an audience finding users for our app, which was called Famous back in the days. It was a social recommendation kind of app where people could tag their clothes and tell people what brands they are wearing. It was kind of what people do on Instagram today. We were a bit early and not prepared. And basically we failed pretty badly. Even though we raised some cash, $300,000, I was amazed when we did this. It was kind of like wow for me as a really fresh graduate. We hired people, probably the wrong people. We didn't have the right team, I think. And we had a huge problem of chicken and egg. So the whole point of us monetizing was to reach a critical mass and then exit or sell or start sponsoring or something like this. But we never got enough users to get brands interested, and we never got enough brands interested to get enough users, because the whole point was to reward users for being active. So we would give them discount and vouchers for purchasing clothes that they liked. So I spent about a year there working crazy hours, 7 days a week. We failed. I decided to quit. And the big learning for me was that I was not technical, and that was kind of the big handicap for me, because I was in touch with the users. It was just me, our CEO, and 2 developers, and I was the only one bringing back the feedback from our users to the developers. But my credibility was so low, because I had no idea what I was talking about. Like, I didn't know if something was difficult to build, I didn't know if something was even feasible, I didn't know if our product receives these kind of features. And so the team was built in a way that really made us kind of fail. So I quit and I started looking for jobs. It was really boring, so I decided I needed a side project, and I launched a YouTube channel to promote music. Everybody was doing this back in the day, so I decided to do this too. But I used one of the hacks we had found that worked to drive traffic to our website back in the startup days, and I decided to do the same thing, but to drive traffic to my YouTube videos. And that worked. It started making money. But for this, I had to learn how to code a little bit. I had to learn how to code a basic script on Python, and that was my really beginning with coding, basically. So we're now in 2014, my first job, not in Belgium, in London. Nothing related to engineering or code. I was a social media consultant, hired in a very small boutique firm. Salary was super bad, the city was crazy expensive. I was for the first time financially independent, but barely, because it was really crazy. And then I started to realize that I had to wait a year and another year to get a raise every time, and that was not cool. So I decided to look into passive income and how I could generate money on the side. And that's where iOS started, pretty much. Teaching myself how to code with this guy at the back who found a Udemy course for $10, which claimed that we could learn how to build think it was 10 or 15 apps in the span of 40 videos or something like this. It was very cheap. I think we even shared the credentials on Udemy to pay even less. And we started learning, and because we did it together, it was cool to see that we were on the same account. He made 5 more videos than me. Yesterday I have to catch up, and then these kind of things made us learn much faster. So that was my first app, which looks horrendous now, but that's cool to see. I needed a test project to keep learning, because my background was really not in anything related to programming. So I decided to take a map and put some pubs and bars that serve gluten-free beers in London. Why? Because one of my friends was and still is intolerant to gluten, and I thought it was cool to try and help him to go for drinks when we struggled to find places. So that was my test project and my learning project. I launched in August 2015, got my first few downloads. It was a paid app, so I was making money back then, which was great. Really pocket money, beer money, we could say. That was basically what happened for the next 2 years. From 2015 to 2017, I kept working on this thing. It wasn't working, it wasn't making tons of cash. I was learning still on the side, but every time I was learning something, I would apply it to this app, building more features, adding more stuff, reading more books, adding more features, and making all the possible mistakes someone can make with an app. Don't change your price. Keep shipping if people don't really want this stuff. Ship stuff that you really want, even though you don't use your own app. I'm not gluten-free intolerant, I can eat whatever I want. All the things you could think of, I made these mistakes. Of course, it didn't change anything. The app didn't really start getting traffic or anything like this. So I thought maybe I need to launch other stuff. And I was also getting a bit tired of my social media job. I was enjoying making apps more, so I thought, okay, I don't have ideas, but I'm going to just try and ship stuff that can be used as a portfolio if I want to go for jobs or interview or do some stuff. I launched more apps. They all failed, but that was fine. I kept going. And then May 2017 happened. I quit my job as a social media guy. I was really bored of that. And I was meant to move here because my girlfriend lived here. But a week before leaving London, I got a call from Google that wanted to hire BD consultants, so BD business developer people, for Google Play in the apps and games team. I thought, oh, that's really cool because it's related to apps, mobile, and that's probably how they found me, because they saw that I was doing consulting and apps. And so I changed my plan and I stayed in London and I joined Google for about a year. And then this date happened and everything changed. In the 16th of Jan 2018, so almost 2 years ago now, 2 years ago, I had just launched another YouTube channel because 2018 my resolution was, okay, personal brand, I might quit my job at some point, I need to be kind of someone, and I'm going to launch a YouTube channel to talk about my journey as a programmer, learning to code and stuff like that. And I thought that can also help me make money on the side because, you know, you can monetize videos and maybe I can get there and make some money on YouTube. But 2 weeks later, on that date, YouTube changed their monetization policy and it became much, much harder to monetize on YouTube. I won't go through the details, but basically the whole YouTuber community was super pissed off because people had been working super hard to get to the monetization level, and from one day to the next they changed everything and people were like super pissed off. So this is what I did. 3 weeks after that thing happened, I decided to look for a way to track my progress towards these new criteria you had to reach to monetize on YouTube. Nothing was done by YouTube or by Google to help you track this. The analytics were still the same, they hadn't changed anything. So I said, okay, I'll try it and build it myself. And I took 3 weeks and I built this YT tracker. It was version 1 and no launch plan. I just launched it, it was completely free, and I posted in a Facebook group which had, I don't know, 20,000 YouTubers or something in it. And suddenly it started to kick off. I had tons of downloads in the first week and it kept growing from there. So 2018, I still have my full-time job, I'm still at Google, but evenings and weekends, I build a bunch of features, add this add them to this app, try to grow the user base and start monetizing as well. So I did this for another half a year or something. And in August of 2018, I quit Google. That's when I decided to go full-time indie. The app had gotten enough traffic and enough growth that I was confident it was going to continue growing and that I could sustain myself with it if I spent all my time. So that's what I did. And in October of 2018, I broke even for the first time. So finally, it was paying the bill. I could pay my rent, I could pay a bit of food. It was still very frugal, but I was relieved that I had reached that point after so many failures. But of course, I was not really out of the woods in English, do we say, I think, because with apps you can have so much problems, random problems that can happen all the time, and that's what happened in the summer of 2019. Where YouTube decided to make my life hell for the whole summer. So my app is analytics based, right? So for this I need data from the YouTube servers and people's analytics. So I need their API to do this. And from one day to the next, they decided to shut me down completely. So no access to their data. So all my users would open their app and it would say blank, nothing, it's broken. I was on holiday in Greece, which was really, really fun. To realize, and so I appealed. I tried to convince YouTube to tell me first what was going on, because they don't tell you where the problem is. They just shut you down and that's it, and then you're on your own and you have to figure it out. Luckily I had contacts back to where I worked before, and I think that kind of saved me, but it still took 6 weeks to fix the app, negotiate with them, get meetings, remove features, remove some part of the app that was monetized. So I lost about 30% of my users. Revenue was down for the whole time, pretty much. And after 6 weeks, I fixed it, finally. I was communicating this to my users on YouTube, and that I think helped a lot, because people would follow and see what's going on. So that's just to show that it's never really finished. There's always going to be problems. And so the adventure continues today. The app is back online. I had more problems with YouTube, but now I'm kind of used to navigating these things, so it's also a learning process. But my plan is to diversify, make sure I build more apps, to not rely just on the giants that can, shut you down from one day to the next. So I'm diversifying outside of YouTube stuff with fitness apps, Twitch-related stuff. Even launched a recipe app with my girlfriend. These kind of things. And so I'm far from being done. I'm really glad that I can spend all my time on this, but it's not yet a success story, I think. I have a lot to do still, and my goals for 2020 is to make sure all my apps are running fine, increase my portfolio and diversify all this stuff, and focus on recurring revenue, because that's what everybody is doing, and at the moment I'm still relying a lot on people paying once, and I want to stop relying on this, and potentially Android, but I don't know if I'll learn or if I'll hire somebody for this. So yeah, that was pretty much my story for the last 5 years. If you want to check on my apps, you can scan this thing, and I'm also on Instagram and Twitter, and I blog once in a while when I have time. Thank you. I think we have time for a few questions. Yes? So it used to be only organic, at least for my YouTube app, but now I'm trying to start reinvesting, search ads, mostly for now with Apple. That's mostly what I'm doing right now. Yes. I'm starting to invest.
What kind of marketing tools do you use?
So marketing tools, for me, ASO is the free stuff you have to do, because it can position you better, and so I try to invest a lot of time in keyword research, tweaks, A/B testing, trying to change the keywords I rank for. I built quite a big following on Instagram, which helps me for every launch. I have about 20,000 people following now, and every time I build something, I showcase how the process of building something goes, from a quick sketch on my notepad to how I design it in Sketch, how I code it, and stuff like that. And for every launch, it helps because whether it is on Product Hunt or even just launching on the store for the first time or looking for beta testers, that helps. And that's pretty much it for now. It's very scrappy because, of course, I'm doing still everything myself. So yeah. That's a very good question. Prioritizing features. So I have a bunch of, like I use Notion. This is a tool to take notes and stuff, and I have one page per app, and I have like a feedback list, and then I just list everything my users send me. In all my apps, you have a super easy to find contact form where people can contact, and then it's kind of like, if I like something more than something else, I'll do that because I can. Sometimes if it's something that people ask 10 times in a row, then I'll focus on this first. Like when I launched my fitness app a couple months ago, I did a launch on App Advice, which you make your app for free and they feature you for a day, and you have, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people looking for free apps all the time. So in one day you get 20,000 downloads. That's a good kickstart, even though it makes no money. But out of this, I got tons of feedback, and then based on this, you can prioritize. So that's kind of how I do it. One more question?
How many people personally do?
Well, there's something I haven't talked about here, which is there's a personal aspect to this. So when I joined Google in May of 2017, I was on site, so in the office in London. But my mom was very sick at that time. She had a cancer for years and years before. And when things got worse, my dad was still at home. He couldn't be flexible with his work. He has high responsibilities in the company, and he couldn't just be home all the time. So I said, I'll try to negotiate with Google to work from home. Home being France, so I was not in the UK anymore. So I did the first 3 months on site, the first 4 months at Google on site. And I worked like crazy to show them I was like top class, way above the others. And then I told my boss, hey, listen, I have this situation. If you want to keep me, I have to be there and not here. And they said yes. So I moved back home with the promise that I would come back in the office once every couple months, just to show my face, be with my colleagues. But our team was already across all the continents, and we had different people everywhere, so we were online all the time. It didn't really matter in the end. And so my mom passed away in August of last year, 2018. And that's basically when I quit, because I was not going back to the UK. My girlfriend is here. I had kind of delayed my departure for Spain anyway to join Google. I had an experience that was amazing, and I learned tons of stuff. But moving back to the UK would have been a bit strange, and they wouldn't have let me continue being remote like this because of the reason I was not there anymore. So that's kind of, it went smoothly, but I'm glad I had the chance to do it. I don't think I would go back to the same position, but yeah, it was kind of a given that I would leave at some point.